Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope everybody is having a very fantastic finisher Friday. Boy, do we got some bullishness on the market today to end out the week. Give me one quick second. Here, listen back on this later. Okay, there we go. So, nice gap up here today. Man, 0.6% of a gap up. SPY is currently up 1.2%. Nice move here on the open. Gapped up, traded higher here for the first 45-ish minutes or so. And then hasn't really done a whole lot since. I mean, that's pretty much most of the day. Kind of chopped sideways there for about an hour. And then nice little slight uptrend. Kind of been flat here for the past hour as well. But yeah, I mean, that's about the pace of the day. Obviously, Microsoft and Alphabet had earnings last night. We'll talk about that and economic data we got this morning. But let's just keep running through these major ETFs. Yeah, Q's doing pretty well today. They also had a pretty large gap up. They're currently up 1.75%. Okay. IWM, not as large of a gap up. Currently up 1.1% though. You can see it ran very strong there on the open. First 30 minutes, very strong. Nice pullback, nice little run back up to the daily highs. That's kind of where it topped out. Kind of hanging out right there right now. DIA, open negative. Interesting. All right. That's an interesting one, especially with Microsoft being in the Dow. I wouldn't have thought the Dow would actually have opened negative. So, interesting one there. So, very slight lower open. Nice push higher, pull back, push higher. All right. Currently up 0.5%. RSP opened negative, substantially negative. Nice pop there the first 30 minutes. Pull back, push higher. Currently up 0.3%. So we are seeing very clearly today a rotation back into concentration of big tech. And probably an opportunity to sell. Let's just keep going through stuff and see where we are. So the RSP is based at the highs that it had back on Tuesday, Wednesday. What would be rather interesting if we did see this play out, got this double top potentially. So if we roll back down high, and that would look rather nasty on the RSP. So I also think we could go a little bit higher, right? We haven't quite got to this level, this low here around 163.7 or so. So we could go maybe a little bit higher. Maybe that happens early next week. Wouldn't be too shocked. The DIA did get actually into these lows back from March, and we haven't gone back up to those highs, right? Even though we are seeing really strong bullishness across the marketplace today, we haven't gotten back up to those highs. So that's an interesting one. IWM maybe gets a little bit higher, comes up to these lows in this area. So maybe it would break potentially this week's high, early next week, continue up just a little bit further. Q's got to an interesting spot, kind of right at this low. Maybe it goes a little bit higher early next week. And then maybe we start to see some more rollover. That'd be an interesting one as well. SPY. They clearly breaking Wednesday's high. So yeah, the Qs definitely are as well. So this would be an interesting look if it did get up to this area. I think we kind of talked about that last week, earlier this week. Maybe potentially get to the bottom of this. Candle back on April 4th. So if it happens, it happens. But I wouldn't be too shocked going into next week if we see the market trade a little bit higher. Big reason why is, well, we're going to end kind of at the weekly highs, most likely. I couldn't imagine we'd sell off any significant amount by the end of the day today. But I think it's probably going to be looking like that's the spot where last week we had talked about probably being more bearish at a little bit of at a little bit more of these higher levels than what we got on Wednesday. So we're kind of getting into a little bit more of those spots where you'd want to be bearish. And yeah, I mean, I think as we go a little bit higher, maybe early next week, that would look relatively more attractive to be bearish on. VIX, pulling back a little bit more. Not much else to say there. All right, VIX pulling back a little bit more. There you go. DXY dollar pumping pretty hard today. Wow, this thing has moved. Even from the last time I saw it this morning, this thing has moved. So from this morning, I saw it on the open. So yeah, I didn't even see all this happen. It was a much lower levels. Jeez. So yeah, it's the dollar's rating pretty strong today. I would say it's pretty safe to say we're going to bounce off the 20 EMA here. We're not going to make it all the way back down to these two highs. That's a pretty strong day today. If we do wind up breaking down today's low, I don't know if these two highs would actually support and bounce, if it would bounce here. I really, I don't know if that would happen. I do like this flag pattern. You can definitely see it's still just kind of in this, kind of flag pattern type setup. So, but today's price action indicates we're probably going to be moving out of here bullish relatively soon. That's the best day performance it's had over the past week and a half since it started this little pullback. So that looks pretty promising there. GLD, I mean, gold's doing pretty good today. GLD kind of just hanging out flat, not really doing a whole lot. Been consolidating here. How do the futures look? Did it try to break higher today? Not really. I mean, it did a little bit, but yeah, I would still just be buyer of any dips. That's all I really got there. 10-year yield. All right. So this is a very interesting look on yields. I love talking about yields so much, mostly because I think yields are about to absolutely destroy this market. But we had the breakout day yesterday, right? You see this breakout day that we had yesterday from the consolidation that we had over the previous kind of week of trading. And we get a little bit of a retest today. And we're kind of been bouncing up off that retest. So, man, I think we'll probably just continue higher. It's about it. That was a 30-year doing, 30-year, same kind of deal, breaking higher, kind of got that retest look to it. 2-year. I mean, look at how bullish that 2-year looks. Oh my gosh, that looks way more bullish. Look at that move higher today. Look at that very small retest. Not doji, but just a little small retest inside day hammer can. Oh my gosh, that looks so stinking strong. That looks so good. So good. 10 and 2 inversion. It looks like we broke higher on Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday. And then we've just kind of pulled back to this previous highs. So maybe we'll see continue to push higher early next week. Continuing to bounce here on the HYG. All right. LQD kind of bounced from that gap down that we had yesterday right into those moving averages that are coming down. All right, fair enough. Same kind of deal here with the TLT. Things continuing to break down. I mean, don't let it think. Don't think that just because it bounced here a couple days from breaking down that it's going to hold this channel. I mean, just the channel is still downtrending, so it's not exactly a great looking channel. And the fact that you're trying to breach the lower ends of it is not a good thing. Okay, so yeah, bonds still don't look great, man. They just don't look great at all. And we've seen a little bit more of that intraday kind of price action. Let me take a look real quick, not at the question mark, but at core PCE. So we got PCE this morning. And core PCE was flat month over month, but it was higher than forecasts. Forecast was calling for 2.6%. We actually got 2.8% year over year, which is what it was prior month. The monthly one came in the same. So yeah, that stinks. And then year over year PCE index, the headline PCE came in at 2.7. Forecast was 2.6. Prior was 2.5. So yeah, we had a nice little uptrend there on uh, on headline PCE. So not looking great there across a lot of economic stuff, really at all. Let's take a look at sector performance. I'm gonna guess tech has a pretty large gap up today. Just I guess tech and XLC, probably XLC a little bit more. All right, what we got here. So we got, pretty large gap up here on the XLC. Hasn't really done too much intraday, but nice gap up there on the XLC. Kind of at the high, definitely outperforming the most today. Tech also outperforming, discretionaries underperforming, materials underperforming, industrials, real estate, healthcare, staples, financials underperforming, and then the laggers of the day, utilities and energies. Okay, be curious to see what's going on there with energies. Haven't looked at them in a couple days. Intraday performance though, tech seeing a little bit of outperformance there over discretionaries. XLC communications not exactly seeing large outperformance too much, but I mean it's just probably a lot of people profit taking on a huge gap up there on Alphabet. Energy's looking pretty good there, outperforming intraday ever so slightly. And then you got materials, industrials, healthcare, financials, and real estate, and then staples and utilities at the lower ends of the day. Okay. So let's take a look then at crude. How's crude doing? That is a large wick back from last Friday. I remember that. We are slowly climbing to try to take that out. We'll see if we wind up doing it. I thought we'd be bearish on crude from seeing that huge upper wick for last Friday, but we continue to climb to try to take that out. Heating oil is not really climbing as much, but it's okay. All right, heating oil just kind of hanging out. Not really doing a whole lot today. So let's talk about the two big ones, right? Microsoft first, because it got outshined to Alphabet today. And really on their earnings. Not really so much the earnings side, but all the other things that kind of got announced on along with earnings. So Microsoft did pretty well. They beat earnings by 1.6%. They beat revenue by about 4.25%. So it did pretty good. Let's take a look at the chart. Yeah, it's got a little bit of an uptrend to it. Looking pretty good there. Earnings also has a little bit of uptrend to it. Nothing crazy. Let me take a look at statements. Year over year revenue growth. We're growing 7%, 8%, 12, almost 13%, and then 17.5% this quarter. So yeah, Microsoft's doing pretty good. They're not crushing it on growth, but they're doing a lot better than most. Let's talk about Alphabet. Okay, Alphabet. Look at this thing up almost 10%. It's been up quite a bit today. Let's see here. Looks like it opened up about 12%, not quite. And yeah, there you go. So the thing here with Alphabet is I saw a headline. I'm sure it's probably just gone off of this list. But basically, what the headline was, maybe it's here on the homepage, or Finance Yahoo's homepage. Alphabet surges after earnings and first ever dividend. There you go. There was a third thing. I forgot what that was. Yeah, I forget what the third thing was. On their what they announced, kind of that came out from their earnings. But yeah, their Alphabet huge jump. A lot of it has to do with this earnings, not the earnings, but the dividend thing. They announced some dividends. So yeah, that's a big deal. I kind of says that they are very comfortable with their cash flow position, and they're willing to kind of invest more back, give more cash back to investors. The other one was stock buybacks. That's what it was. So yeah, I mean, you deliver great earnings. You got stock buybacks and dividends coming. There you go. That is what stock investors love to hear. They love to hear returns coming back to them. There you go. Nice pop there on Alphabet. So that was what really drove Alphabet, and they're doing pretty well. So I don't really see anything else there. Stocks build up. Tech fuel jump as market takes PCE in strides. Yeah, the market's like trying to ignore inflation data, and they're just like, "Oh, we love earnings. We just love, love, love earnings." Once we get past big tech earnings, which we're kind of past the bigger tech earnings, we're gonna have two more: Alphabet and Amazon, and that's it. I mean, we're gonna have some other semiconductor guys and stuff like that. Nvidia is gonna be here in like 2 months. They're not anytime soon. Intel had theirs. Apparently, they're down pretty good. But Apple, Amazon are going to be the two next big ones, and they should both be next week. So Amazon's on Tuesday, and then Apple, I think Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday. So next week we're going to get Amazon, Apple, and if we continue to have yields push higher over the next week, next few trading days, guys, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's probably gonna be a great opportunity to start to look to just be bearish, because once we get past the earnings of the big tech guys, which we know they're gonna deliver, but it's everything else. Once you're past the earnings, then you got to start to pay attention to all the other things that are going on. It's like people are not gonna be able to ignore yields that continue just to go higher. So we'll take it in strides. We'll talk about it more next week as we get it. But as for now, yeah, let's take a look at Intel for now. How about that? Intel. Oh, man. So did this thing actually come down to where I would... Oh, my gosh, it did. So I remember last year when it was breaking out of this like triple bottom down here. I mean, I was saying keep buying it off this line. This line down here, just keep buying it, keep buying it, keep buying it. And when it tried to make these retests back in like the summer and fall last year, I was wanting it to come down to the $30 level. And it almost got there. I mean, I would say that's pretty dang close. I was really wanted to kind of connect in with these highs here. And it did. It has. Kind of overlaps with this high, this high, this high. So that was kind of what I was really looking for. And the fact that it's done it here this year. I mean, look at the stock price this year. I mean, last year was a really good year for Intel. This year, not as much. And I think I would start to be more dip buy happy here on Intel. You see the gap down, sold off, and then people just bought it up. I would be wanting to buy down there. Yeah, absolutely. Intel. Not a bad spot. It's crazy how small Intel is on market share. They used to be back in the day, they used to be a heavyweight. But they're nothing now. Where's their market cap? 134 billion. I mean, AMD is about 2 times the size of Intel on market cap now. That's what happens when you get growth prospects in your favor. So, AbbVie, ABBV. AbbVie dropped during the day. Oh, wow. Oh, their earnings. They had earnings this morning. They beat revenue by about 3%. They beat earnings by about 2%, a little bit more than 2%. Okay. Nice drop there. that's basically it. I just kind of want to quickly go through the things that kind of moving and shaking today. I mean, outside of the gap up and kind of the first 30 minutes, we haven't really done too much during the day. We've mostly gotten all the news. We'll see what happens as we get into next week. Let's see if we got any major economic stuff early next week. We shouldn't have anything major next week. Next week. There you go. So Monday doesn't really look like anything. Tuesday, Red Book. I guess that'll be important. I doubt it. Nothing really there on Tuesday. Yeah, so that's going to be the end of the month stuff. So there shouldn't really be a whole lot of anything. ISM, manufacturing stuff. Jolts. We'll get Jolts actually Wednesday. That's always one that market likes to pay attention to. Initial jobless claims Thursday. So yeah, we'll start to get some labor stuff next week, Wednesday, Thursday, but not so much inflationary type stuff. And then non-farm payrolls next Friday. Mix that in with Amazon earnings Tuesday and Apple's Thursday, both after the bell. Still going to be a busy week. And we'll just see how it goes. Other than that, Alpha Hunters, y'all ain't got anything. I don't really have much today either. I mean, I know I'm getting pretty quick on doing a lot of these market recaps and stuff like that, but mostly it's just get in. Let's talk about what's going on, talk about what to be aware of, and get on with our day. We don't need to spend all day talking about this stuff. We don't need to spend an hour talking about this stuff. But if you ever have questions, always ask. Let's talk about it. Make sure we understand what's going on. If I don't know, that's fine. I mean, there's a world of finance is huge and complicated. If I don't know, we can definitely find out. I do know enough finance to understand the terminology. So if it's something I don't know, we can take a look at it and dissect the terminology and stuff like that to kind of get an understanding of what's being talked about. But we'll see what happens next week. If we roll back down a little bit today, I think that'd be a little bit more promising to potentially see some bearishness next week, especially if like early next week we have a little bit of bullish pop like Monday or Tuesday, and then maybe set up for a rollover second half of next week. And as always, if yields continue to push higher on any kind of bullishness, then yeah, I think it's just going to be an easy sell. Alpha Hunters, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I'll get out Market Outlook tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Take care, Alpha Hunters.